DonInLondon, hello, it's June 18th, 2009. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance was alcohol, my behaviour trying to be perfect in whatever sphere of life. And never so, but it didn't stop me striving for the best I could be. And these days, having realised that sometimes when we want to be the best that we can be, it is not the goal that we're chasing at the end of the rainbow. It's actually making our lives work in the very present moment of now. And if we spend too much time in the future and where we're aiming and not enough time in the present, we can't enjoy life. We can't enjoy it and relish the moment of now. And if we go back in our history, and I have a long history of, I suppose, work experience of 35 years, of living experience of 50 years, an experience of life in happiness and also in sadness. So the reasons for doing these videos is to say we all get to where we get to in our lives, and some of us are in a place of recovery from addiction, and some of us are in a place of recovering from addiction. And recovery is a daily thing, and recovering is a lifetime thing. So there's not much need to split hairs on things like that, but some people wish to be recovered so they can say, I don't drink anymore and I'm recovered, or I don't take drugs anymore and I'm recovered, or I don't overdo it on food and I'm recovered. And the simple is, if anybody's trying to diet, trying to give up smoking, trying to give up alcohol, it can be very frustrating. And the gift is in fellowship. The fellowship of AA, for me, Alcoholics Anonymous, I have a fighting chance on a daily basis not to take a drink and learn a bit more wisdom and experience life as it is, reality. And for me, reality is the spiritual connection to living. And the AA program, AA being Alcoholics Anonymous, gives me a set of 12 steps, and it's held together by 12 traditions. So the steps are all about being open, willing and honest to change. And the fellowship traditions are all about unity, service and recovery. And at every meeting I go to, whether we are a newcomer or been there for donkey's years, as they say, or decades, the preamble is shared at the beginning of every meeting, which outlines what AA is there to do. And this is what it says. It says, Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So in that last sentence where it says our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety is really the mainstay, what they call the keystone, if you like. It's all about being sober and helping others. So the 12 steps keep me active and living in the moment. And for me this week it's been quite tough. I'm on a 5-day program which is to help me with another condition, type 1 diabetes, so it's intensive. And I've learned more over the last 3 days, this is day 4, more over the last 3 days about type 1 diabetes than I ever knew in the few years that I've had it. And I got type 1 diabetes in recovery, or being in recovery from addiction. And it wasn't a lifestyle issue, it was down to a virus or something. But in a funny sort of way, I would have quite liked to have blamed myself, then I could have beaten myself up even more and worn a hair shirt, as they say, or flailed myself in some, I don't know, sadistic, masochistic, who knows. These days I don't think in those terms, but the gift is, I'm not in a place where I'm in the problem of drink. I'm in the place where it's the solution, and the solution is living sober. So the gift for me is AA makes me able to deal with other things. So type 1 diabetes is obviously my priority this week, and I have to say my blood sugars much improved. I'm getting them in a place which is safe rather than not safe, dangerous. But it's caused me some hypos this week. I think I've had about 4, which is where the blood sugar goes below 3.5, and that's dangerously low. And because I'm in the safe place where we can find out what exactly I need in terms of dose ratio to food, to energy, to exercise. It's not very easy, it's quite complicated. But I'm learning, and this 5-day course is going to save my life, or at least hopefully, touch wood, it's going to extend it a little bit. So what made it possible? The Fellowship of AA made this possible. You know, a 12-step program, realising that life had gone to pot, and then finding a way out. And it took an awful lot of courage, I feel, and also a lot of fear in the initial stages. Fear of dying is one, but actually fear of living was another. So when we're completely bamboozled by booze, we don't know where we are. And this week I've been going to evening meetings when I can, and last night it was a struggle to get to the evening meeting down near Flood Street, where I heard an excellent chair, and it was all about something that's in As Bill Sees It, this book. And maybe I'll do this one first, because the other one, as you know, is Daily Reflection, which I use here. And I'll just read out the As Bill Sees It, because this is the page which I would have shared anyway this morning, but it was shared in the meeting last night. And it goes like this. Our problem centres in the mind, page 130. We know that as long as the alcoholic keeps away from drink, he usually reacts much like other men. We are equally positive that once he takes any alcohol, whatever into his system, something happens in both the body and the mental sense, which makes it virtually impossible for him to stop. The experience of any alcoholic will abundantly confirm this. These observations would be academic and pointless if our friend never took the first drink, thereby setting the terrible cycle into motion. Therefore, the main problem of the alcoholic centres in his mind, rather than in his body. And in many ways, that's so true. You know, we can deal with the craving, the physical craving, fairly quickly, and get into a regime of not drinking. It suggests do 90 meetings in 90 days and don't drink. So you've got somewhere to share your pain, because it is really painful physically, the craving and the compulsion to actually keep on doing that drinking, even when it's killing us. And you know, that particular passage, it's almost like happy coincidence, serendipity, that it came up last night. And you know, the gift for me is the obsession of the mind is not for me to make myself a martyr by feeling guilt, shame and all the rest of it. It's to atone in many ways, to forgive myself from the circumstances, and to understand that alcoholism is a disease. And for years I didn't believe that. I thought people were just pulling my leg. But when I actually became an alcoholic, and I don't know exactly when I crossed the line, it could have been about 8 years ago, doesn't matter. I reckon the first drink did the damage. It just changed my way of feeling, so it took the edge off. And these days I'm trying not to. So the meeting last night was absolutely wonderful, and I shared that if it hadn't been for the programme I would have never have got diabetes, because I would have been dead, and I wouldn't have been able to make the best of this 5-day course. And it's a real privilege, and you know, the whole thing is so professional, absolutely to the highest standards, and I have to thank Chelsea and Westminster Hospital for that, and the staff, and the training person who is doing a magnificent job. And I should know, I used to be a training and development manager. Anyway, that was a long time ago. I don't do that anymore, and certainly not in the city where I used to work. And for June 18th it says a Fellowship of Freedom in this book, Daily Reflection. So I'll just read the top part. If only men were granted absolute liberty and were compelled to obey no one, they would then voluntarily associate themselves in the common interest. And that's what the Fellowship does. It associates in common interest around sobriety, and that's its primary purpose. So if we can do that and treat each and everybody the same, equally, and respect each other, and know that it's extraordinarily hard in the first outing into AA, if you like, not outing in a desperately bad way, but going into a fellowship and finding how to live sober. It's frightening. But you know what? It gets better, and then we can live our lives carefully and gently. My time is up. So the serenity prayer: God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and simply learn the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today.